The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry wasps above my hospital bed, and I couldn't shake the feeling that my wife was screwing me over in more ways than one. Not literally screwing me. Hell, we hadn't done that in months. But as I lay there with my busted ribs and a leg that looked like it went 10 rounds with a meat grinder, I had plenty of time to think about how Angela had been acting lately. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name's Eli Carson, and 3 days ago I wrapped my pickup around a telephone pole thanks to some idiot running a red light. The other driver walked away without a scratch, naturally. Me? I got a front row seat to Maine's finest medical care and a wife who suddenly couldn't be bothered to visit more than once a day. Mr. Carson? The nurse poked her head through the doorway. Your discharge papers are ready. Is your wife coming to pick you up? I grabbed my phone and fired off a text to Angela. Can you pick me up? Discharged early? The reply came back faster than a slap in the face. Busy trip. Can't leave. Uber? Trip. Travis Mahoney. Angela's new best friend who'd appeared in our lives about 2 months ago like a bad rash. Rich kid from down south who'd moved to our little Maine town with daddy's money and a smile that could sell ice to penguins. Angela claimed he was helping her with some real estate deal, but the way she lit up when his name came up made my teeth itch. All right, I texted back, though what I really wanted to say would have made a sailor blush. 20 minutes later, I was hobbling out of the hospital on crutches, waiting for my Uber and wondering when my wife had become too busy to give a damn about her husband. The driver, a chatty guy named Derek who ran a local garage, recognized me from around town. Eli Carson, right? Heard about your accident. Tough break, man. He helped me into the passenger seat. Hey, you want to swing by the Lighthouse Diner? Big Lou's been asking about you. The Lighthouse Diner was the kind of place where everyone knew your business before you did. Lou Martineau ran it like a benevolent dictator, serving up gossip with the coffee and making sure nothing happened in town without his knowledge. Normally I'd pass, but something made me nod. Yeah, let's stop by. The diner was packed with the usual lunch crowd, mill workers, retirees, and local business folks grabbing a quick bite. Lou spotted me the moment Derek helped me through the door. Jesus, Eli, look what they did to you. Lou was built like a refrigerator with arms, all muscle gone soft around the edges but still intimidating as hell. Coffee's on the house. How you holding up? Been better, Lou. Been worse too, I suppose. Lou's expression shifted, and he glanced around before leaning closer. Listen, I don't like being the bearer of bad news, but your wife's been coming in here regular-like, with that Mahoney kid. My stomach dropped, but I kept my voice steady. Oh yeah? Just business lunches, I'm sure. Maybe. Lou's tone suggested he thought otherwise. They were here about an hour ago, actually. Looked pretty cozy in that back booth. Real cozy, if you know what I mean. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. Derek, who'd been quietly nursing a coffee, showed me his screen. My buddy runs the security camera system for half the businesses downtown, including this place. Want to see something interesting? The footage was grainy but clear enough. Angela and Tripp sitting close together in the back booth, her hand on his arm, both of them laughing like they shared some private joke. Then something changed. A uniformed cop approached their table, spoke quietly to Angela. Her face went white. Tripp looked like he might throw up, quickly gathering his things and heading for the back exit, while Angela followed the officer outside. What the hell? I muttered. Happened about 30 minutes ago, Derek said. Cop car's still out there. I looked through the diner window, and sure enough, there was a police cruiser parked outside. My wife was nowhere to be seen. The ride home was quiet, my mind spinning with possibilities. Derek helped me to the front door and made sure I could get inside okay before heading off. The house felt different somehow. Too quiet. Too clean. Angela's car wasn't in the driveway. I made my way to the kitchen and found a note on the counter. Gone to handle some business. Dinner's in the fridge. A. Some business. Right. I spent the next hour going through the house with new eyes, looking for things I'd been too trusting to notice before. In Angela's dresser, hidden under some old sweaters, I found credit card statements for an account I didn't know existed, charges for expensive restaurants, hotel rooms, and a jewelry store downtown, all within the last 2 months. In her car, which she'd left unlocked in her hurry, I found a spare key fob I didn't recognize. The tag read, Riverfront Apartments, in fancy script. Mrs. Deering, our 70-something neighbor, was working in her garden when I hobbled outside for some air. She had the sharpest eyes and ears in the neighborhood, and nothing got past her. Eli, good to see you up and about. How are you feeling? Like I got hit by a truck, Mrs. D. But I'll live. She glanced toward my house, then back at me. I don't like to gossip, you understand, but I've been worried about you. Worried how? Well, Angela's been keeping some odd hours lately, leaving real late at night, coming back before dawn. Sometimes she doesn't come back at all. Mrs. Deering's voice dropped to a whisper. And that fancy car's been parked at the end of the block a few times, the one that belongs to that Mahoney boy. My hands clenched into fists on my crutches. How long has this been going on? Couple months now. Started right around the time you had that big fight about money, remember? The walls are thin, dear. I remembered. Angela had been pushing for us to refinance the house, take out a bigger mortgage to invest in opportunities. I'd said no, we were fine as we were. She'd been cold to me for weeks after that. Thanks for telling me, Mrs. D. I appreciate your honesty. I hope I'm wrong, Eli. I really do. But you deserve better than secrets. That evening, Angela came home around 8, looking frazzled and avoiding eye contact. She busied herself in the kitchen, heating up leftover casserole and chattering about her day like nothing had happened. How was your first day home? I'm sorry I couldn't pick you up, but Tripp had this emergency with one of his properties and... What kind of emergency? She paused, her back still to me. Just paperwork stuff. Really boring. Boring enough to need a police escort? Now she turned around, and I could see the fear in her eyes before she covered it with irritation. What are you talking about? I saw you at the diner, Angela. You and Tripp. I saw the cop come talk to you. You were spying on me? I was having coffee with Lou. Hard to miss the drama when it's happening right in front of you. She set down the plate she'd been holding and crossed her arms. If you must know, there was some confusion with one of Tripp's property deals. The police just needed to clarify some paperwork. It's all sorted out now. Paperwork? Right. I pulled out the credit card statements I'd found. What about this paperwork, Angela? When were you planning to tell me about the secret credit card? Her face went through several shades of pale before settling on defiant red. That's my business account, for work expenses. Funny kind of work that requires hotel rooms and expensive jewelry. You're being paranoid, Eli. The accident must have rattled you more than we thought. Maybe you should talk to someone. And there it was, the classic move. When caught in a lie, make the other person question their sanity. I'd seen Angela use this technique on clients who asked too many questions about property deals. I'm thinking real clear, actually. Clearer than I have in months. She came over and put her hand on my arm, turning on the charm that had worked on me for 15 years. Honey, I know things have been stressful lately, but we're going to get through this. You just need to trust me. Trust. The word felt like broken glass in my mouth. Where's your car tonight, Angela? What? Your car. It's not in the driveway. How'd you get home? Another pause. Another lie forming behind her eyes. Tripp gave me a ride. My car's getting serviced. At 8 o'clock at night? It's a 24-hour place. I nodded slowly, filing away another piece of evidence. I'm tired. Think I'll head to bed early. Good idea. You need your rest. As I made my way upstairs, I heard her phone buzz with a text message, then another, then a hushed phone conversation that lasted until well after midnight. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling and listening to my wife lie to someone else for a change. Tomorrow, I decided, I was going to start getting some answers. The next morning, Angela was gone before I woke up. Another note on the counter. Early showing. Back this afternoon. A. I called Derek from the garage and asked if he could swing by. When he arrived an hour later, he brought coffee and a knowing look. You look like hell, Eli. Feel worse. Listen, I need a favor. A big one. Name it. I need to know what my wife's really up to, and I need proof. Derek studied my face for a long moment. You sure you want to go down this road? Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is what got me here in the first place. I've been sleepwalking through my own life while she's been playing games behind my back. All right then. What do you need? We spent the morning setting up a plan. Derek had connections throughout town. Guys who installed security systems, worked at cell phone stores, knew how to track vehicles without breaking any laws. By noon, we had a GPS tracker attached to Angela's car and access to several security cameras around town, including the ones at the riverfront apartments. This feels like overkill, I said, as Derek showed me how to access the camera feeds on my phone. Trust me, if she's playing games, you want all the evidence you can get. Courts don't like he said she said anymore. The first real breakthrough came that afternoon. Angela's car showed up at the riverfront apartments at 2:15 p.m. and didn't leave until almost 6 how. The security camera caught her using a key to enter the building, not being buzzed up like a visitor. At 6:30, she walked through our front door with grocery bags and a story about spending the day with clients looking at properties across town. How'd the showings go? I asked from my spot on the couch. Great. I think we might have a bite on the Morrison place. This young couple from Portland, really motivated buyers. She was unpacking groceries as she talked, not meeting my eyes. What did you do today? Not much. Watched some TV, talked to Mrs. Deering. She mentioned seeing your car around town. Angela's hands stilled on a box of cereal. Oh? Where? Downtown area. Said you looked like you were in a hurry. Probably just running errands. You know how Mrs. Deering is. She sees drama everywhere. That evening, I got a text from Derek. Check the diner cam, now. I pulled up the feed on my phone, and there they were again. Angela and Tripp in the same back booth. But this time, they weren't alone. A woman I recognized as Carla Hutchins, who ran social media for half the local businesses, was with them. So was a guy in an expensive suit, who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. They were having what looked like a serious conversation. Carla was showing them something on her phone, and the suit guy was taking notes. Angela looked stressed, Tripp looked scared, and Carla looked like she was enjoying herself way too much. My phone rang. Lou from the diner. Eli, you might want to know, that little meeting your wife's having? The guy in the suit is Seth Mahoney, Tripp's cousin. He's a lawyer from Boston. Lawyer? Yeah. And from what I could overhear when I refilled their coffee, they're talking about property transfers and asset protection. Thought you should know. Asset protection. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. They weren't just having an affair, they were planning something bigger. After Angela went to bed that night, I spent hours going through our financial records, looking for anything unusual. What I found made my blood run cold. Our joint savings account had been slowly drained over the past 2 months. Small transfers, never enough to trigger alerts, but adding up to nearly $15,000. The money had been moved to an account I didn't have access to. There were also several documents I'd apparently signed without reading carefully. Papers Angela had brought home claiming they were insurance updates or bank paperwork. Looking at them now with clear eyes, I realized I'd signed away my rights to several decisions about our shared assets. I'd been played, expertly, systematically, and thoroughly. The next morning brought another early departure and another note. This time, I was ready. Derek picked me up at 9, and we drove to the riverfront apartments. The building was modern glass and chrome, the kind of place that cost more per month than most people made in 3. Unit 412, Derek said, checking his notes. Registered to Travis Mahoney, lease signed 2 months ago. 2 months, right when he showed up in our lives. Gets better. I did some digging on your boy Trip. Trust fund kid like you thought, but he's been cut off. Daddy found out about some gambling debts and shut off the money tap. Kid's been scrambling to find new income sources. Like my wife's real estate connections. Or your wife's husband's assets. We sat in Derek's truck across the street, watching the building. At 10:30, Tripp's silver BMW pulled into the parking garage. At 11:15, Angela's car followed. You want to go up there? Derek asked. I thought about it. Part of me wanted to kick down the door and confront them both. But the smarter part, the part that was finally waking up after months of being played for a fool, had a better idea. No, let's go to the gym. The Riverside Fitness Center was where Tripp worked out every day at noon. I'd learned this from Carla's Instagram posts, where she frequently tagged him in workout selfies. The woman documented everything online, which was about to work in my favor. I was waiting by the weight rack when Tripp walked in, all confidence and expensive workout gear. He spotted me immediately, and his face went through several interesting expressions before settling on fake concern. Eli, man, I heard about your accident. How are you holding up? Oh, you know, taking it one day at a time, learning a lot about myself, about other people too. Something in my tone made him take a step back. That's good, man. Personal growth is important. Absolutely, like learning who your real friends are, who you can trust. I moved closer, using my crutches to crowd his space without being obviously aggressive. Speaking of trust, how's that apartment working out for you? The one at Riverfront? His face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you do, Tripp. Unit 412. Nice place. Great view of the river. Must be expensive, though. Good thing you've got business partners to help with expenses. Look, Eli, I think there might be some misunderstanding. Oh, there's definitely been a misunderstanding. See, I understood that when a man befriends a married couple, he's befriending both people, not just the wife, not just her assets, not just her signature on documents she doesn't bother to explain to her husband. Tripp was sweating now, and not from his workout. I don't know what you think you know, but I know enough. I leaned on my crutches and gave him my best smile. Have a good workout, Tripp. Enjoy it while you can. I left him standing there, probably wondering how much I actually knew versus how much I was guessing. The truth was, I was still putting pieces together, but his reaction told me I was on the right track. That afternoon, Derek and I took a trip to the parking lot behind the riverfront apartments. Tripp's BMW was parked in its usual spot, gleaming silver paint job reflecting the afternoon sun. Shame about these old Maine winters, I said, pulling out a box cutter. Really hard on car tires. Eli, you sure about this? I'm sure about a lot of things now. 4 quick cuts later, Tripp's tires were flat as pancakes. We were back in Derek's truck, parked across the street, when Tripp and Angela emerged from the building 20 minutes later. The look on Tripp's face when he saw his car was priceless. Angela looked around nervously while he called for roadside assistance, probably wondering if this was random vandalism or something more targeted. I had Derek drive slowly past them as we left. When Tripp looked up and saw me in the passenger seat, I gave him a friendly wave. That evening, Angela was quieter than usual. She kept checking her phone and jumping at small noises. Everything okay? I asked over dinner. Fine. Just tired. It's been a long day. I bet. A lot of running around, dealing with other people's problems? She looked at me sharply. What's that supposed to mean? Nothing specific. Just that your job must be stressful, trying to keep everyone happy. My phone buzzed with a text from Derek. Posted the tire-slashing video on the community Facebook page, tagged it as random vandalism downtown. Carla's already shared it with crying face emojis. I smiled, which seemed to make Angela even more nervous. What's funny? Just something Derek sent me, local news stuff. She went to bed early again, but I could hear her on the phone until well past midnight. The conversations were getting more heated, more desperate. Tomorrow, I decided, it was time to start turning up the heat. The next morning, I was ready when Angela tried to leave early again. I'd positioned myself in the living room with a clear view of the driveway, and when she headed for her car, I called out, "Angela, wait up. We need to talk." She froze with her hand on the door handle. "I'm running late, Eli. Can it wait?" "No, it can't." I stood up, balancing on my crutches. "I know about the apartment." The color drained from her face, but she tried to play it off. "What apartment?" "Unit 412 at Riverfront. I know about the secret credit cards, the transferred money, the papers you had me sign. I know about all of it." For a moment, she looked like she might try to keep lying. Then something shifted in her expression, and I saw a flash of the woman I used to think I knew. "Eli, you don't understand. It's not what you think." "Then explain it to me." She came back inside and sat down across from me, her hands shaking slightly. "Tripp and we've been working on a business deal. A big one. But it required some upfront investment, and his family cut him off financially. So you decided to invest my money without telling me. Our money. And I was going to tell you once everything was finalized. I didn't want to get your hopes up in case it fell through." "What kind of business deal requires hotel rooms and expensive jewelry?" She was quiet for a long moment. "There were networking events, client dinners. You have to spend money to make money in real estate." "And the apartment?" "Tripp needed a local address for the business registration. I co-signed as a favor." Every word was carefully chosen, technically plausible but missing huge chunks of truth. I could see her calculating how much to admit, how much she could still hide. "Show me the business papers." "What?" "If this is all legitimate business, show me the documentation. Partnership agreements, investment contracts, projected returns. Show me something that proves this isn't just you stealing from me to fund your affair." "It's not an affair?" "Then prove it." She stared at me for several long seconds, and I could practically see the wheels turning. Finally, she stood up. "I don't have to prove anything to you. You're being paranoid and controlling, and I'm not going to stand here and be interrogated in my own home. Our home, that I paid for, with money from accounts you've been draining. I'm leaving. When you're ready to have a rational conversation, let me know." She grabbed her purse and headed for the door again, but I wasn't done. "Angela." She turned back, and I held up my phone with the video Derek had captured of her entering the apartment building. "The whole town's about to see this. Lou's putting it up on the community board at the diner. Carla's Facebook page is next. Then the local newspaper's website. You wouldn't. Try me." For the first time since this whole thing started, I saw real fear in her eyes. Not just worry about being caught, but panic about public humiliation. In a town like ours, reputation was everything, especially for someone in real estate. "What do you want?" "I want the truth. All of it. And I want my money back. I can't just—" "Then I guess everyone in town gets to see what Angela Carson does during her business meetings." She sat back down, her hands clenched into fists. "Fine. Yes, Tripp and I have been involved. But it started as business, I swear. He had this opportunity, a development deal that could have made us both rich. But it required capital, and his family wouldn't help. So you stole from me. I borrowed from us. I was going to pay it back with interest once the deal went through. And the affair? She was quiet for so long I thought she might not answer. It just happened. We were spending so much time together, working on the project, and you were always so negative about taking risks. Tripp understood my ambition. Your ambition to screw me over. It wasn't supposed to be screwing you over. It was supposed to be a surprise, a way to finally get us ahead financially. I laughed, and the sound was bitter even to my own ears. A surprise, right. And I suppose having your lawyer cousin draw up papers to protect your assets from your husband was part of the surprise too? Her face went white again. How did you... I know about Seth. I know about the asset protection planning. I know you've been systematically stealing from me while planning to leave me with nothing. She started crying then, but they were angry tears, not remorseful ones. You never wanted anything better for us. You were content to just exist. Work your little job, live in this little house, never dream bigger. I wanted more. You wanted more, so you decided to take everything I had. I wanted us to have more, but you were too stubborn to see the opportunity. I stood up, suddenly exhausted by the conversation. Pack your things, Angela. I want you out by tonight. You can't kick me out of my own house. Watch me. The mortgage is in my name. The deed is in my name. The only reason your name is on anything is because I trusted you. That ends now. I'll fight you on this. With what money? The money you stole from me? Good luck explaining that to a judge. She stormed out then, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. I watched through the blinds as she peeled out of the driveway, probably heading straight to Tripp's apartment. My phone rang almost immediately. Derek. I saw her leave, looked pissed. How'd it go? She admitted everything. Well, most of it. Tried to spin it as a business deal gone wrong, but she admitted to the affair and the money. What's the plan now? I looked around the house I'd shared with Angela for 15 years, seeing it with new eyes. It felt different already, like a weight had been lifted. Now we make sure the whole town knows what kind of person she really is. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Derek came over with his laptop, and we started uploading evidence to every social media platform and community forum we could find. The video of Angela entering Tripp's apartment building, screenshots of the secret credit card statements, photos of the papers she'd had me sign without proper explanation. Lou at the diner was more than happy to put everything up on the community bulletin board. Mrs. Deering spread the word through the neighborhood gossip network. By evening, half the town was talking about Eli Carson's affair and financial shenanigans. My phone started ringing around 6 p.m. First Angela, screaming about how I was ruining her reputation and her career. Then Tripp, trying to sound reasonable while threatening legal action. Then Seth the lawyer, making official-sounding demands that I remove the libelous content immediately. I ignored them all. The real fireworks started the next day. Angela showed up at the house with Tripp and Seth in tow, demanding to collect her things and threatening all kinds of legal action. I was ready for them. Gentlemen, I said, opening the door with a smile. And Angela, how nice of you all to come by. Cut the act, Eli, Seth said, stepping forward. You're going to remove all that content from the internet, and you're going to issue a public apology, or we're going to sue you for everything you're worth. Sue me for what? Telling the truth? For invasion of privacy, defamation, harassment. With evidence I gathered legally from my own property and public places. Good luck with that. Tripp tried a different approach. Look, man, I know you're hurt, but this has gotten out of hand. People are calling my father, my business contacts. You're destroying innocent people's lives. Innocent? I laughed. You seduced my wife, helped her steal my money, and tried to manipulate me into signing away my rights to my own assets. Which part of that makes you innocent? The business deal was legitimate. Show me the paperwork, Silence. That's what I thought. Angela finally spoke up. Eli, please. I made mistakes, but I never meant to hurt you. Can't we work this out like adults? Adults don't steal from their spouses and lie about it for months. Adults don't have affairs and then gaslight their partners into thinking they're crazy. I'll pay back the money, all of it, with interest. With what money? Your real estate license is probably going to be suspended once your clients find out what you've been up to. And Tripp here is broke, remember? The three of them exchanged glances, and I could see them running out of options. What do you want? Seth asked finally. I want Angela to move out permanently. I want every penny of my money returned within 30 days. I want a signed confession detailing exactly what you all did, and I want you to stay the hell away from me. And if we do all that, then maybe I don't send copies of everything to the state real estate board and the IRS. That got their attention. Angela went pale, Tripp looked like he might throw up, and even Seth seemed shaken. You can't prove, Angela started. I can prove you used fraudulent documents to access joint accounts. I can prove you transferred money without authorization. I can prove you lied to financial institutions about the purpose of loans and credit applications. I smiled. Want me to keep going? They left without another word, Angela shooting me one last look of pure hatred before climbing into Tripp's BMW. 3 days later, I had my money back and signed confessions from all three of them. Angela moved out of town entirely, taking a job with some real estate company in Boston. Tripp followed her, his tail between his legs and his trust fund permanently revoked. Seth went back to Boston and never set foot in our town again. The local gossip mill ran for weeks on the story of Eli Carson's affair and the husband who got his revenge. I became something of a local legend, the guy who outsmarted the cheaters and came out on top. Mrs. Deering brought me casseroles and updates on the neighborhood drama. Lou gave me free coffee and a booth with the best view in the diner. Derek became my closest friend, and we started a small business together, fixing cars and installing security systems. 6 months later, I was sitting in that same booth at the Lighthouse Diner when Derek slid in across from me with a grin. You're not going to believe this, he said, pulling out his phone. Remember Carla, Angela's social media friend? What about her? She just posted this. He showed me a Facebook screenshot. It was a long post from Carla, detailing how Angela and Tripp had tried to get her to help them hide assets and create fake business documents, how they'd offered to cut her in on their scheme if she'd help them discredit me online. She kept all their messages, Derek continued. Screenshots, recorded phone calls, everything. Apparently, her conscience finally got to her. I read through the post, shaking my head in amazement. Even after everything, they'd been planning more elaborate schemes to avoid the consequences of their actions. There's more, Derek said. Tripp's father found out about the whole thing, cut him off completely and filed charges for the money Tripp stole from the family business to fund his lifestyle. Kids looking at serious jail time. And Angela? Lost her real estate license. The Boston company fired her when they found out about the fraud charges. Word is she's working at a call center now. I leaned back in the booth, sipping my coffee and looking out at the town I'd called home for most of my life. It felt good to be vindicated, to have the truth finally come out completely. You know what the best part is? I said to Derek. What's that? I'm actually happy now. For the first time in years, I'm genuinely happy. Lou appeared at our table with a fresh pot of coffee and that knowing smile of his. Heard through the grapevine that Angela tried to come back to town last week. Wanted to make amends and see if she could get her old clients back. Oh yeah? How'd that work out for her? Let's just say the reception was chilly. Real chilly. She was back on the highway within 2 hours. I raised my coffee cup in a mock toast. Here's to lunch being over, permanently. Derek clinked his mug against mine. And here's to the best revenge being a life well lived. As we sat there in the diner, surrounded by friends and neighbors who'd seen me through the worst time of my life and come out the other side, I realized something important. I hadn't just gotten revenge on Angela and Tripp. I'd gotten something much more valuable. I'd gotten my life back.